Okay, we're going to call this regular monthly meeting of the Scarborough Sanitary District to order. We'll do the roll call. We'll start with Ben.
Here.
Jason.
Here.
Joe.
Present.
Ruth.
Present.
Mike.
Present.
Tony.
Present.
I'm present too. My name is Nick and I'm the chairman. And there are others present as well. We'll introduce you later. Approval of the minutes. Looking forward to a motion.
Move approval.
Thank you, Jason.
Second.
Thank you, Tony. Any corrections, additions, subtractions? Barring none, all in favor? And 2 abstentions. Okay, superintendent's report. You're up, Dave.
Okay, thank you for that. A copy of a monthly report of operations for the month of February is included in your packet. Our average effluent flow was 1.27 million gallons a day. Our effluent quality was within our permitted limits. We averaged 97% biochemical oxygen demand removal and 98% total suspended solids removal. For our average effluent concentrations of 8 and 5 milligrams per liter, respectively. Copy of the pump station flows for the month of February is also included in your packet. There are no issues noted. I attached our net energy billing credit quarterly report regarding the savings we've earned from the Green Mile Solar Farm during the last quarter of 2024. We saved $17,787 from that solar farm. Knowles Industrial Services has finished the grit tank concrete repairs, and the tank is back online. T-Buck has submitted pay application number 3 for $100,423.55. They also have adjusted their project schedule due to delays by CMP. The current completion date is 10/25/2025. It added 10 days to the contract. We are still waiting on CMP to do some bypass the overhead electricity lines to allow the driving of the sheets, which may impact the schedule further. So I've attached that pay application for your review. With regards to the dewatering upgrades at the wastewater treatment facility, no on-site work has been completed this past month. We did process pay application number 1 for $29,450. I believe I see I have a typo there, so I'm gonna check my number. $29,450. Currently, they are working on a temporary dewatering plan for the sludge dewatering plan. The initial submittal was insufficient, and once they presented it to us, so we had to kick it back. Pump Station 2 wet well rehab repairs. The 1-year warranty guarantee period is expired. That's the pump station on Eastern Trail on Pine Point. So T-Buck submitted their final application for that project, and that was for $7,832.55. Again, I provided that copy. Our annual audit is being finalized right now, and will be presented during the April regular monthly meeting. It's very riveting, so you're probably lucky it's not tonight. PFAS litigation. Our PFAS litigation has been filed, so that is moving forward. And finally, we do have on this coming Monday, we will be hosting Albert McCormick's high school APS class for a tour at the wastewater treatment facility. I believe this is his 3rd time coming to the plant, so apparently he finds it enjoyable for his students. And that's what I have for superintendent's report.
Any questions for the superintendent?
Couple questions.
Go ahead, Jason.
Okay.
Sorry. Two quick questions.
Yes.
CMP delays. What's going on there?
What they have to do is because they have to drive sheeting in order to dig out the wet well, the sheeting is quite elevated and getting extremely close to the overhead power lines. And so they are actually putting in 2 switches to de-energize the power lines between poles such that they can drive the sheeting without getting electrocuted. There is, the power is being delivered through, I forget exactly, 2 sectors of CMP, so the coordination of the timing for that has been problematic. I've been working with our account
Key client manager.
Which Nick has become very jealous of. So it looks like that work is getting completed either by tomorrow or middle of next week.
Okay. So we're 10 days behind schedule.
Yep.
So was that on us or on T-Buck to coordinate?
It's on T-Buck to coordinate. But it's out of their control. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, they're coordinating.
Understand. I just wondered if CMP, I mean, we pay a lot of money to CMP.
Yes, we do.
Despite our $17,000 in savings, but
Yeah.
for electricity, so I just wondered if there was any, if it was on the T-Bucks end, if there was anything we could do from our perspective to help move things along, but
Well,
sounds like you got it covered.
Yeah, that's when I brought in our key client manager.
Perfect.
To help move this thing along, and so she is intimately involved at this point.
Okay. So you're confident that everything's gonna be
Yeah,
worked
I
out?
feel like within the next week or 2, we should be all set, and nobody's driving sheeting down there.
Okay. My other quick question was just regarding Pump Station 2. No warranty, guarantee work that's been noted, nothing
No,
that, no,
it came out
everything's
fine.
good?
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Anthony?
So, a while back, we had a litigator come in with this PFAS, and she explained to us what was going on. And there were a number of other facilities that were on board. Has that changed?
Yes, that has changed. There are more that have signed up since
good.
that meeting.
And it's still the same scenario where they're moving forward kind of steps, right, to try to litigate this?
Yeah, trying to hopefully coming to a settlement that will result in the district getting some money from the manufacturer of PFAS to help pay for any increase in costs or modifications to the facility that we have to do to address PFAS.
All right, thanks for the update, I appreciate it.
Cool. Any more questions for the superintendent? Okay, moving on to correspondence.
Let's see, attached is our ability to serve letter to Acorn Engineering for a proposed 97 dwelling unit development to be located at 578 US Route 1. The development would consist of a 61-unit senior housing building and 3 12-unit workforce housing buildings. So that's the old Marsh View restaurant.
Cool. Any questions? Off and running to old business. This is for you folks on Highland Avenue.
So, as we've been discussing the proposed sewer extension down Highland Ave from number 14 to number 38. At the last meeting, I presented the cost of the sewer extension at approximately $7,050 per lot. I also clarified that there would be additional costs to connect to the sewer, and those costs at the time were estimated at $15,000 per home. After discussions with the homeowners, we stepped back and made some revisions to the proposed sewer extension. In addition, Mr. Rico here found that in Title 38, which is the law that establishes sewer districts here in Maine,
Sanitary district.
sanitary districts, here in Maine, that a district is limited to assessing the cost to the lots for the sewer extension at 1/2 the cost. So the updates made to the proposed plan for each, a sewer service stub actually was provided for each lot, including the odd number of homes on your side. So what that would include would, a T would be fused into the sewer main, and a stub would be provided to the property line, and at the property line, a shut-off check valve would be installed and turned off and capped. Then the force main's overall length was shortened by about 100 feet. We had extended it a little further than needed. And number 38 Highland Ave was counted as 2 lots versus 1 lot, because it's big enough for an additional lot to be built upon. And then the 50% of the sewer extension costs would be paid by the sanitary district. So using that arrangement, the total cost of the sewer comes down to about $83,500. If the district, if we move forward for this, then the district would be responsible for approximately $42,000. And so dividing the remaining up by the 11 lots, it comes out to $37.97 and 73 cents, $3,797.73 per lot that would be assessed to each lot that the sewer extension would go by. As we had talked about at the last meeting, the homeowners would have the choice to connect to the sewer. The cost to connect to the sewer includes the cost of the pump station, the installation, permits, and the capacity reserve fee. I did get some estimates on this. So this is an additional cost in addition to the sewer extension costs. So the cost to connect is approximately $21,000, and that's based on today's numbers, March 2025. And if the homeowners chose to do it at the time that Risborough was running the sewer extension, they could save approximately $2,000, lowering that cost down to about $19,000. There were some assumptions made, because this was, kind of a global thing, that room in the existing electric panel would be available for the pump station. It assumed 70 linear feet of a sewer service, that they would pump out the existing sewer septic tank and crush it and fill it, but leave it in place, but no demo to the existing leach bed. And it doesn't, obviously it does not include any material labor price increases, especially as time marches on. So what I'd like in the past meeting, I would like to get direction on what the next step the board would like to do. Number one, should we proceed with this project? Number two, how should the district pay for this project? And what are the homeowners' responsibilities with regards to cost and payment options? So.
Cool. Before we go any further, can I ask if you have cell phones, please silence them, please? I'd appreciate it. That would be helpful. And I think the next step might be to ask our handy-dandy engineer, Drew, to come up and at least display the alternative routes and where people would benefit if it were run up Highland Avenue. Thank you, Drew.
We're not in need of any motion at this point.
No motion at all. So I guess, thank you for that point of order. I think a motion about entertaining running sewer up Highland Avenue would be appropriate. I'm looking
This
for,
juncture?
yes, at this juncture.
I would like to entertain a motion that we extend sewer.
Okay,
Island
even
Avenue.
better. All right.
Second,
I second already.
Tony.
Before we move much further, we really can't approve the extension tonight because the way the rules are written, we have to have a public hearing first. So I think what we'll do is just discuss it. And I think it would be communicating our intention to the contractor tonight. And then the final approval would happen after a public hearing if we went that route. I hope I made everything quite confusing for everyone. And I guess now we can let Drew come up and talk. Thank you.
Thanks, Drew Gagnon with Goral Palmer, representing Barra Bros Construction with the Highland Ave project. So I really don't have any update as far as anything that's changed since the last time we talked. We did get an approval at last meeting for the cross-country run through the site. And as we all discussed, that's not really the intention. The intention would be to attempt to put the sewer in Highland Ave. It would benefit the residents surrounding it as well as the sanitary district in terms of having public sewer available. That would allow residents to connect to it in the right of way. Any sewer running through the open space behind any of the houses on Highland and within the property wouldn't be able to be connected to just because of the private nature of it. And it's also going to be proposed as open space, so it'd be difficult to get into it in the future. So as far as any design goes, we don't have any updates on that. And I understand the district did a different cost exercise, so I'm happy to answer any questions if they do come up. Thanks.
Cool. Any questions for Drew from the trustees?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead,
So,
Tony.
Drew, like what Dave was explaining, for all the homeowners, all the service connections will be equal, right? In other words, if you're on the opposite side of the road, they're gonna do, Roseberry would do the crossing over to have a service connection. So if your house is on this side or that side, it's irrelevant. The service connection will be equal, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
Makes sense?
that's what
Yeah.
Dave and I discussed,
Okay.
yeah.
And I have a question for Dave. The cost, the final cost of whatever that service cost is for the extension of the sewer, how does that impact the homeowners connecting to it? So the septic system still works. What is the time frame for them?
To connect?
Yeah,
It would be well, it would basically be at their pleasure, really. We're not requiring them to connect. If their sewer system fails, septic system fails, and the town deems it that it's failed to a point that the repair is very costly, they may direct the homeowner to connect to the sewer. Typically, minor repairs, because we have situations like this right now where there's sewer going by houses, but the house is still on septic systems. And the people have maintained their septic systems, and it's just that way. And then what typically ends up happening in time when the property is sold, the person that buys the property either does not want to have a septic system and they finance a connection at that point in
and
time.
lastly, what is the removal process for the old septic system? What is the
You gotta
limitation?
pump out the septic tank. Basically, break it up such that the bottom, it doesn't retain water.
Okay,
And fill it back up with gravel and
left in place?
leave it in place like that. But you gotta pump it out first. And they included those costs in their estimate to install a septic, a E1 pump station there.
Go ahead, Ben.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
So technically, by state law, if the septic system malfunctions, they're required to connect by law. Or they can do so at their.
Or if they
at their-
wanted to do it.
Anytime
Before.
beforehand on their own behalf.
Yeah. So when the failure of the septic system. basically is what drives you, you know, to connect.
Go ahead, Jason.
We've discussed this last month, we've discussed a little bit this month already. A lot of this is the benefit of the potential ratepayers and those that are going to connect or decide to connect to the sewer system. What benefit is there for the district and other ratepayers of the district currently for extending the sewer down Highland Avenue?
Benefit for the district? I mean,
Sorry to interrupt, but we're gonna be footing a good portion of this bill.
yep.
Kind of teeing this up here, is there opportunity to expand this further down Highland Avenue in the future that could be a benefit for other ratepayers and,
Yeah, the force main would be sized such that it could be extended down Highland Ave further and capturing those houses that are further on up. You know, the benefit of the district, obviously, as people connect, the more users, you know, the value of having a larger user base keeps costs down. The benefit to the environment is huge. We are stewards of the environment, and so that's really, I think, where the benefit is. The primary benefit to the community is protecting the environment in that area.
yeah, I know the answers to that, but I wanted to hear that openly.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of benefits in given the costs and the opportunity to do this at a much lower cost than what we would typically see.
Oh, this is very competitive. I think if this project was moving forward without the Trestle Way project, it would easily be double, if not triple, the cost.
More than double.
Agreed. Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
Any other trustee have questions? You got a question, Joe?
Where does it end on the other side, our mains,
On,
from
can,
Highland Avenue? We don't have anything on the other side, right? Would you talk about future expansion?
Yeah, we have sewer,
comes-
there's sewer on the
Bornheimer Lane?
Bornheimer Way, but
Right.
it's actually a private sewer system with their own pump station, and they actually pump out the back way and
To Fog Road, right?
to Fog Road.
But it's nothing down Highland the rest of the way, correct? After Bornheimer?
There is sewer much further on up, at the top of the hill, you know, past the farm.
That's what I think.
All right, I'd like to open it up to the residents, if any of you have questions for us.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks, Drew. Go ahead, Adam.
So for the odd homes.
Do you mind just saying who you are and
Oh, sure.
where you live?
Yeah, my name's Adam, and I own 31 Highland. For the odd numbered, so it's going to be stubbed at the street on our side.
It's going to be
fun.
stubbed on everyone's property line,
Okay.
yes, so no one's left out.
And then in regards to the contracting work, is that Risbara doing it, or are we still capable of having our own
If
contractors do it?
You could most certainly have your own contract. I was just trying,
Yeah.
people asked me to get more solid numbers on the cost to connect.
Yep,
You know, Risbara did offer a discount if they.
Like a
to do-
package, yeah.
You know, if they're doing it while they're there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
not nominal. But it is something. But no, certainly, you could certainly utilize whomever you would choose to
okay,
connect.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Cool? Any other questions?
I
Go ahead,
just had a
Jason.
quick question for the group here. Most of you, I think all of you were here last month, right? Minus maybe a few people that were here that aren't here tonight. Hearing what you heard last month and versus what you've heard this month, is this much more appealing of a situation to you than it was last month? Now that numbers have, and the communication's been a little bit better on the numbers?
I think it makes some more sense by the nature of not dealing with the streets and all that.
Yep. Is there anybody here that would be opposed to moving forward with a project like this?
I'm up in the air. At 26. I don't know. If we don't connect, are we still responsible for that 3,800? I mean, we pay that. If they go down, we're responsible for that right now, as opposed to the whole 21,000, whatever.
Correct. Yeah, you would be responsible for the $3,800 to have the sewer being in front of you, almost like a betterment fee. Yeah,
I mean,
19,000 estimate down from 22 or 21, is that with the Risberry doing?
the 19,000 would be, that's what Risberry would offer to do it as they were putting the sewer in. Yeah. They're doing the main line sewer as part of Trestle Way, you know, because they're the developer of Trestle Way, so that we're working with them on these numbers. And, but as I just told Adam, right? Yep. Yeah. You know, you can utilize whatever contractor you want to install it. And as I also said, you could choose not to connect today. I mean, I think personally, if it was me and if I had a functioning septic system, I would gladly have the sewer going by me and I just wouldn't connect. I would run my septic system into the ground and.
literally.
Yeah.
Open states there.
Yeah, and, you know, but it's an out if it fails.
Go ahead, Tony.
So Nick, if they chose while it was open to run the service connection to the property, beyond the property line, and cap it where the station would normally get installed, could they do that?
You can do anything you want.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Anything beyond the property line would have to be between Risbera and the property owner,
Right. What I'm saying,
or any
they could do it.
contractor.
or any contractor.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Risbera's gonna put the Ts in.
I don't think there'd be, yes, you could do that, but I don't think there would be any
Benefit.
true benefit or savings to do that if you weren't going to be connecting
Gotcha.
the pump station at that time. I mean, laying that 1.25 line is pretty easy.
Okay.
It's the cost of the pump station, the cost of the installation. The pipe is cheap.
Septic system which is out front. It's there. Would they just connect into that, that's coming out of the house now where it goes into the septic system? With the septic system, the tank has to be removed?
So-
Or would it flow by, or?
Yeah, so excuse me. So basically, where you got the gravity coming out of the house, that would flow into the pump station. That's directly instead of going into your septic tank, it would go, the pump station would go between the house and the septic tank. It would flow into that and then pump out to the street. Your septic tank would have to be pumped down and then filled with gravel.
Like removed, or like you said?
Just demoed in place, basically. Yeah, after you pump it down.
Just to add to that, Dave, I mean, every situation's likely to be different. It depends on how close your septic system, or your septic tank, I'm sorry, it typically required that it be 8 feet minimum away from the foundation, so as long as there's enough room
Space.
to put a pump station in there, it could, yeah. And again, I'm sure everybody's home is different. In your case, it would have to be taken by a case-by-case
Right, no, I understand that.
situation as to whether or not a pump station could actually go between the house and the tank and how you route that around. Likely, there's an answer to that, but it may be different in everybody's situation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You discussed last month a little bit about a moratorium on
No, because we'd be running your sewer stub up to your property line. So, so you've got your paved way, then you have the public right-of-way, which the paved way is within, and there's a shoulder there that's unpaved. And then there's your property line. So you probably, from the paved way, how much space, do you know? It's quite big.
10 to 20 feet size.
The unpaved right-of-way. So there's quite a large area so you would not be connecting, digging up any pavement to connect.
So I sit off the road a little bit. Is this a fair estimate for what it would cost me as opposed to being closer to the street?
You sit off the road. It included at 70 feet, which is a fairly healthy length of pipe. Yeah, do you know how far back she sits?
Probably, what, 120 feet from the road?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably roughly.
120 feet, I mean, so you,
Of course, my second takes up that.
yeah. There would definitely be some additional cost for running pipe in your situation, but as we talked about earlier, the pipe really is the cheapest part of the whole installation. Literally, it's only an 1 1/4 inch diameter pipe. It's very easy to install. I don't know what the good price per foot would be.
150 maybe? 150 per foot?
Oh, no, it wouldn't even be that.
75?
I'd be surprised if it's that.
We don't have the numbers for you right now.
Yeah, I mean, I could ask and get back to you, but
It was going to be a larger amount or just.
it's not gonna be double, I can tell you that. Because it sounds like your distance is about double. But I mean, we used, the cost of the 3-inch diameter pipe was $75 per foot. It would be less than that for the additional footage beyond the 70 feet that was included.
Cool? Anyone else have a question? I guess they don't have a question for us.
I do.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
For clarity purposes, I almost grabbed your pen. Did you state that regardless of connection, the homeowner is responsible for about $3,000? Is that what you said?
Say that again?
He's asking about the assessment.
Regardless of connection, if we approve the project, are you saying the homeowner is responsible for $3,709,
Yeah, yes, correct.
No matter what.
no matter what?
No matter what. That would be half the cost of the pro lot assessment of the sewer extension.
And would that have to be paid at time of connection, time of construction, payment plan? How would you like to do that?
That is totally up to you as the board.
As the board, but I think that rabbit hole is a little far away.
Yeah, it could be any of those.
I think if we move forward with this, we can iron out those details later. I've done similar projects with assessments, and we have given people time to pay them. They aren't, unless you connect, then I don't think you need to pay anything immediately.
And I assume it will be Goral, Palmer, and Risberry that are figuring out the best locations for where these tees are gonna go to property line?
We'd work with the homeowners and identify where they wanted the tee.
So they could get a better idea of what footage would look like for digging.
Yeah, because obviously you want to avoid driveways and that type of thing.
What's the timing?
Like, well, that's a Drew question, I guess. What's the timing then for them to decide? Unless, did they already know?
Say-
Like, at what
Timing for
point-
who to decide?
To decide whether they want to do it or not.
Yeah, at what point do the homeowners have to decide? Because, they're paying $3,800 to get it there, but then at what point do you say, oh, by the way, it's gonna cost X number of dollars for them to hook it up to your house? And if I could get a check tomorrow, that'd be great.
I think our role for planning of the project and for laying the tees, I would try to do within the next 2 months. I would just try to go through and working with Dave on deciding, hey, are the septics on this side of the house or this side? Where does it exit? And ideally, we'd lay the tee to the property line on the most beneficial side. And we would do that in the next 2 months because I know the applicant wants to start the construction of this after we're anticipating subdivision approval in April. So shortly after that would be the summer's construction period for that. As far as the payment fee, I feel like that's a sanitary board discussion of when that would be paid. On our end, we would be doing the project and just laying the tees. We would have that all figured out within the next 2 months if it moves forward.
So then would it be within the next 2 months if she at 26 decided that she wanted it to come all the way to her house? Who tells her how much that's gonna cost? And when she has to
Risbara.
That would be Risbara.
Risbara or any contractor that she elects to use would do that. So it could be at the same time, there's savings if the equipment's already there. If Risbara has availability to do it. Or it can be at any time after that with any contractor can do the work. I'm sure Dave might have some selected contractors that are maybe better than others in terms of knowing the product and putting it in. But it can be really whoever after the fact. There's no limitation. If this gets approved by the board, we would move forward with just finalizing the plans and the T locations and leaving all that and kind of figuring all that out. And then it would be completely up to the residents and homeowners if they wanted to move forward after that at any given time, so.
If they wanted to get the $2,000 discount to install while the sewer is being installed, it would have to be probably within the next 2 months. We'd have to know, or the Risbara would have to know whether they're gonna do the E1 installation at that time when they install the sewer.
So the $3,800 comes to us, and then the expense to go from their property line to their house is them,
Yes.
Is,
the
go,
homeowner.
no,
And if they chose, so I know we said that, $3,800, that's kind of a hefty chunk of change. I don't know that we can wait much longer than next month to decide how that gets paid, personally.
Yeah.
But anyway, but then I think for their benefit, if they wanted to do something like that, I would imagine that Risbara or somebody would reach out to them sooner versus later to say, if it goes here, it's gonna cost you this much.
I think I have a dovetail for you on that. So, as a board, we have to do a public hearing, correct? So that's posting for 30 days. We're looking at next month's meeting to conduct the public hearing with our board meeting, I assume.
Yes.
Provided that we approve tonight that we want to move forward with the idea.
Yes.
So based on the public hearing, right, at that point in time, Dave, you would work with Drew and company to establish where those tees are gonna go, right? So that's gonna take a couple weeks at that point, right? I'm just trying to give a realistic timetable, what we're looking at for answers. So at the time when we establish the tees with the locations, could we articulate possibly what a reasonable window for commitment at that time would be? Right, so like, we understand the connection. If we decide to go forward with the project, $3,800, right, that they understand there's a liability for. We can figure out how that is paid obviously at a later point. But like, what's a realistic timetable that they have to decide to commit to Risbara? Like, would we ask of Risbara to like, if you're gonna be coming down the road, they need a 2-week notice before you start work to commit, like deadline wise, like, do you understand what I'm asking? Because, if, let's say, Risbara gets busy and they're not able to get to the project until May, right? You know, they need to have a realistic time frame of what's gonna be the cutoff from when the Ts are established to make the decision. Because they need to know when the work is gonna start, so they know if they're gonna have $19,000.
Right, I'm just trying to be respectful of them and how it'll disrupt their world over the next couple of months. I think it's, I mean, if somebody showed up at my door and said, hey, you wanna do this? I'd hawk my husband for it, so I get it, I take it. But it would be nice to know how soon he would have to go.
Did you just say you'd hawk?
I would
your
hawk my husband to have public, yes. I live in the country, but, I mean, just to be
Serena, get that in the
respectful
minutes,
of,
please.
but just
It's
to be
been
respectful of you
reported.
and your time and your timing and planning and your money.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, 2 months, that seems pretty fast.
For what?
Well, you're saying now 30,
No,
but you're talking 3, 4
2 months
yeah.
is when
It would be December.
Risbara knows they're going down Highland Ave.
Yep,
2 months is when Risbara knows where they're gonna put the tees. No one's paying any money except us in 2 months, period. End of story. We're fronting the money for this whole project.
Yeah.
This $37.97 per residence is a reimbursement for that.
I'm just trying to ask, like, I understand we're gonna put money and we can deal with payment stuff later, right, for the $3,800, but I'm asking what a realistic time frame for them, if they want to take advantage of the equipment being in the street, what that looks like for them to kind of process that.
In a
Right.
previous extension that I've gone through, usually the contractor's out there and the residents just go up to him and say, hey, can you connect? You know, you give everyone Risbara's contact information and let them handle it separately.
I understand that.
We don't
I
wanna
just
get
wanted to try to
involved.
Give a realistic time frame.
Realistically, Drew, you said it's March now, they're probably looking at trying to do this June, July, I'm guessing.
Sure, yeah.
Sure. There is a lead item here, and that's the pump station.
Right.
So that, if somebody wants to have the pump station installed, I don't know what that lead time is right now on that pump station, but I suspect it's at least 2 weeks to a month.
Yeah, if I could add to that, they are pretty readily available, but I think they do ship up from Mass, I think is their distribution, so it's not the end of the world. I would ask that between this meeting and next meeting, I think Dave and I can work with Risbara on a more detailed construction schedule. That obviously depends on your approval of it, but kind of leading up to give the residents a chance to, okay, they're starting construction in June, they're gonna be there for a month and a half, 2 months. That Risbara would need notification if they wanted to connect at the time of Maine by this date to order materials. And then I think we can come up with a reasonable deadline so that if they wish to connect, and again, it's just to give everyone so that Risbara is not keeping equipment on site for the next year and a half, just waiting, right? So I think Dave and I can come up with something as a detailed construction
And again,
schedule.
I think the key here is they don't have to connect, and I don't think you would have to hawk your husband.
Thank you, that's respectful, appreciate it.
No, I would consider.
Dave, it's definitely a good investment, though.
Related, but I'm-
No question.
I'm assuming when they intend to cut the road for the sewer lines, that's when you'd be running the water lines and tapping. for the
Yeah.
water district to go across the
Yeah,
same
we need to coordinate all that because there's a lot of moving parts with the water district and that. But yes, the intention would be probably one cut through that whole area and trying to condense everything.
Is there an understanding of the limitations of space in regards to, I know you said there's a requirement of space between sewer and,
There are. I need to dive into laying it out and seeing how that works in terms of the properties across the street, which will be part of the effort that we do. Also figuring out which side of the property the residents on that side need to be on. It could be 2 cuts because of certain factors. I don't know that answer yet, but the intent is to have it all together to save the applicant as much money as possible from a restoration standpoint, so.
Go ahead, Jay.
I hate to muddy the waters more, but I'm gonna a little bit because we've been talking about installation costs, and I don't wanna overlook I don't want to overlook the capacity reserve fee on this and what that looks like, so I don't want anybody to be surprised. Could you just explain that?
That's in that number.
That is in that number.
That is in that number.
Okay. I just didn't see that it was spelled out on here, is it?
It is,
It is?
yeah, the cost, the paragraph after the table, it says the cost to connect to the sewer includes the cost of the pump
Oh.
station installation permits and the capacity
Sorry,
reserve
I read
fee.
that 3 times and I don't know why I did not see capacity reserve fee. Okay, thank you.
So,
Any other questions?
One last question.
Go ahead, Tony.
Does it have to be unanimous by all the homeowners?
No,
No.
the only people voting on this job is us. That's it, period.
November.
there's two of them, two of them are for election, yes.
Do you want to sit in my seat? You can.
What is the, ENR for March 2025?
What's that?
What is the capacity reserve? What is the ENR?
Oh, the capacity reserve fee right now is,
The one time you didn't write it down.
the one time I didn't write it down, but for a single-family home, can I round?
Yeah.
$4,010.
Do you know what that is?
Thank you. Just, yeah, go for it.
I don't know.
Oh,
Dave gets to explain it.
Somebody tell you. Somebody who's a higher rank than me.
I don't know about that. The capacity reserve fee is a fee that is charged to any user that is connecting to the sewer. And what the monies are to pay for the capacity that the additional sewer is taking up in the sewer system and the treatment plant. So basically paying your fair share of what's already been built and paid for by others, and allowing us to expand it as needed. So all the development that's taken place in the Downs pays the exact same capacity reserve fee per gallon. The town, when they do a project, pays the exact same capacity reserve fee. There's no,
Sorry, you said per gallon, so is it based on bed or bath count?
it's based on a single-family home.
No,
For a single-family home, it's based on 200 gallons per day. And that's where the $4,010 comes from. That's written into our rules and regulations.
That's a one-time fee.
One-time fee.
Correct.
That's close.
It's
So,
20,
So the,
so the 3,800, now the 4,000
No.
as well, right?
Yeah, sorry. My bad. Go ahead.
Is that a hookup, or is that just,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
so the reserve fee,
It's built
you
in.
didn't hook up,
You don't pay it. You
but
pay
you
it
pay that at hookup?
at hookup. That's that's part of, yeah,
Yes.
that's included in that 21,000.
it's required to retrieve a permit from the sanitary district
Yeah.
to connect to the sewer system. So when you submit for a permit, you have to pay that fee in order to get the permit to connect.
I think it's a fair point, just because we're talking about that capacity reserve fee, right? That the ENR fluctuates monthly. So like if you decide in 10 years or 5 years or a year from now to connect to the sewer district, sanitary district, excuse me, that number could be much different, right? It may not be $4,000.
It will not be $4,000.
If you could explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, the capacity reserve fee is is indexed to the Engineering News Records Construction Cost Index. A lot of words there. So basically, it is automatically inflated with inflation. Historically, 2 to 3% a year. Basically, it matches inflation. So, there was a one time during COVID where it was 8% for that year. because the cost just went stupidly crazy.
Can I just ask one more question? If we do
You can ask more
decide-
than one.
So the 19,000, if we decide to hook up at the time it goes by.
Yep.
But that does not include the extension cost, or it does?
That does not include the extension costs. So it'd be 19 plus the 3,800.
Oh.
There's a connection cost, there's a sewer extension cost.
The 19 or 21,000 is only what the negotiated prices for Risborough because they're going by.
Correct.
But that's not the pipe that takes them to their house.
Yes, that 19,000 is.
That is. all
That
the way to their home.
19,000 is the pipe that goes to the house, includes the pump station, capacity reserve fee, and installation and pump out.
It's actually-
The cost to connect.
I didn't read the paragraph.
May I address them?
What's that? Go ahead.
So obviously, regardless, right, we have to have a public hearing. My recommendation for you guys before the public hearing next month would be to maybe contact the contractor to discuss this and see what the cost would be to basically destroy your septic system and what they would estimate, right? Just so you guys have something other than that 19,000 staring in the face. I mean, because digging your septic system and basically blowing it up, right? That's a significant cost. And also,
That's assuming they want to connect at this point in time.
I'm just saying, if you're thinking about it, you know, getting another quote might be a recommended thing just to understand understand where the numbers are at. I mean, I would encourage it. I would do that if this was me. Would get a different number.
Where is the spec on this pump station? And is there a particular brand that we have to buy? Is it a certain horsepower, a certain?
Yeah,
power
it's
brand?
E1 pump station, and I can email you the spec on it. It's the same pump stations they're using within the Trestleway development.
But we would buy it privately or through a contractor?
Whoever installs your unit would buy it, or you would buy it. You know, I get the contact people's names down in Rockland, Mass, actually.
Go ahead, Drew.
I would just add to that, and I don't want to put more work on Dave, but I mean, we've done this in the past in other communities. If it does go through, we provide a spec sheet, which would have all the information you're looking for. So you could give that to your own contractor if you wanted to, on exactly what the pump needs to be in the specifications for it. So.
If the pump fits the specs, it shouldn't have to be one particular branded pump.
No, it has to be one particular brand because that's the way these low-pressure sewer systems work. You can't just buy a no-name pump station to work with this.
Yeah.
Specs are specs.
Can I ask a question? Who here is thinking about connecting? I think you are, and you guys, I know.
I think that's a great idea for a new house.
And Adam, I thought you were kind of thinking about it.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I cross all my T's and dot all my
Yeah. I mean, I would think the majority of people wouldn't, frankly, connect. And that's historically what I've seen in the past. You know, people just wait out their septic systems.
Yeah, I would say when Black Point Road was sewered, I was young, very young at the time, not dating myself, but I remember it being a bone of contention with the residents and the potential ratepayers that we built our houses 15 years ago, we put septic systems in, and that was kind of, when you look at the development around Black Point Road from St. Max Church past Clay Pitts Road, most people had just built in that time and had septic systems. So when sewer went through, they're like, I'm not paying for this, you know? So people waited a long time, some did, but I think it was probably, like, you're right, there's like a third, a third, a third.
Yeah, what I see on a lot of, when houses finally sell, is the new homeowners usually want to connect to the sewer. And if they have that option, and they do it at that point in time. And frankly, it's a benefit to you guys when you do go to sell your home, that you have that option.
The 3,800, if that's, if you don't connect, say it's 5 years down the line, is that going up in inflation like the reserve thing?
That's really.
That's up to us, and normally, it usually doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, barring no more questions, discussion, I'm gonna,
I guess one more question. Do you want to ask if they're interested in this?
I'm interested in it. It seems like there are two that already said they're interested in it
Yeah.
and need it. I think it's a good idea to do that. Like I said, the only people voting tonight will be the people sitting at this table. Go
Right, the
ahead,
motion-
Joe.
The motion for tonight would be to move forward with a public hearing.
Public hearing.
Yes, move forward with the process. And that will give Drew the direction for Risbara to go down the street versus cross-country.
And we have that motion on the, don't we already have that motion on the table?
That's what we've been discussing about, yes,
Okay.
exactly, yes.
All right. Ready when you are.
What's that?
Ready when you are.
All right, I'm ready to call for a vote. All in favor to move forward with this process? None opposed. Thank you. Thank you, folks. You're more than welcome to stay through the rest of this meeting, but I already see Drew packing up. He's not staying. He does,
He's got a little one at home.
yes. Thank you, folks. I appreciate you coming.
You only have one more item.
That's it.
That's how we're gonna finance this.
Huh. All right. We're going on to new business. Budget summary.
The 2-month budget summary is included in your packet. I recommend approval.
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Ben. I think Tony got it. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Drew.
Tony. Any questions about the budget? Barring none, all in favor? None opposed. Public comments, got any? All right. Trustee comments, Ben?
Thanks to everybody at the district for doing a great job down there. And thanks to all the board members for being very thoughtful, working out this sewer extension with everybody. It's being handled pretty nicely. And let's see, that environmental science class coming in Monday. I hope you.
It's fun.
I hope you give them a lot of hands-on work. My daughter will be there. I told her
Will she?
I told her to be prepared, so.
Oh, she's gonna bring home a sticker for you.
Tell her to wear gloves.
All right, I will.
Oh, that's exciting.
Tony?
I thought the board did a great job tonight with this issue. I think it's an important issue. Dave, you did a tremendous job with, I think these people really don't understand. There's a lot of things they don't understand. And trying to put it in perspective for them, I think means a lot. And I think you did a great job getting them to this point, really did.
Well, I understand the position, $4,000 is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and it's, we haven't stated how the district will be repaid, and, there's obviously different financing scenarios that we have at our
Right.
exposure. So I get the hesitation. I do strongly feel that the environmental benefit of this project is huge, and
I do
think
agree
it's a
with
good
that.
thing to do.
Thank you.
Cool. Mike?
I'd have to agree with Dave that if this was coming in front of my house, I probably would not hook up. But I know I would definitely get my $3,800 back when I sell the house. So,
Good point, Mike.
other than that, great job to the staff this month of March.
Cool. Jason?
Thanks again for everybody from Highland Ave for showing up tonight and expressing any concerns or questions that they have. And my thanks to the staff for another great month of the district.
Cool. Ruth?
Thank you very much for a great conversation. I think, I don't know, it's better to educate them so that they know what they are getting or what's going to be in front of their house. So thank you very much, and thanks again to your staff.
Joe?
It was nice having some public here.
It is nice.
No offense, other than but no, it was a good conversation, and, you know, it's very technical, and there's a lot of numbers. And I think we're all empathetic to that the $4,000 does mean something. And especially when they weren't planning on it, right? So I think I appreciate my fellow board members and their empathy towards that, and all of us trying to wrap our heads around what this project means, so that we're making thoughtful and educated decisions. I wish we'd see that more often in everything. So I appreciate the conversation. Hopefully we answered their questions. I look forward to the public hearing next month. And I'd like to thank the staff for their continued great efforts.
Cool. All right, I'm going to echo my fellow trustee comments. Thanks to Dave for leading this charge. I appreciate all the work you put into it. Thank you, Drew, who just left, for showing up and helping us through another meeting. And I truly do thank the residents at Highland Ave that showed up, and those that have called or emailed or communicated. Truly appreciate the participation. And thanks to my fellow trustees for a great discussion. And I'll ask for the last motion of the evening.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Tony. All in favor? None opposed. We're done.